Hey, Ella.
Hi, Jake. Hey, did you see that video of the guy who tried to parallel park for 11 minutes?
I watched it 3 times. Every attempt was worse than the one before.
And he looked so calm, like he had a system.
He did not have a system. I was watching it at midnight and I could not stop laughing.
Same. I was eating dinner when my sister sent it to me. I completely lost it.
Did he ever actually park?
He tried to park for 11 minutes and then just drove away.
11 minutes, then gave up. Incredible.
Okay, did you notice something just now?
What do you mean?
I said I was watching it at midnight. You said I was eating dinner when my sister sent it. Then he tried to park
We kept switching between 2 different past tenses,
without even thinking about it.
past simple and past continuous.
One tells you what happened, the other puts you right inside the moment.
I did versus I was doing. That tiny difference, that is exactly what we are getting into today.
By the end of this, it will feel completely natural.
Welcome to the English Speaking Show. So let me make sure I understand this. Past simple, that is just a completed action?
Done and finished. I called her, she left, we arrived late.
And past continuous is something that was in progress.
You are right in the middle of it. I was calling her, she was leaving, we were waiting outside.
So one is the photograph, the other is the video.
Oh, I love that. Yes, exactly that.
Okay, the photograph is one frozen moment, done, complete.
And the video, something is playing, something is in motion.
So when do they work together?
Okay, imagine you are cooking dinner, your phone rings.
Right?
You say, I was cooking dinner when the phone rang.
The cooking was already happening, then the phone interrupted it.
The cooking is the video, still playing. The phone ringing is the photograph, one moment.
So the continuous is always the background, and the simple is always the event.
That is it. That is the whole thing.
Why did nobody explain it like that before?
I know, it sounds so simple when you put it that way.
Okay, what about while? How does that fit in?
While is for two things happening at the same time, both in progress together.
Like, while I was cooking, she was setting the table.
Both ongoing, both continuous. Neither one interrupts the other.
And when is for the interruption, the shorter thing that cuts in.
Exactly. When introduces the event, while introduces the background.
So when goes with past simple, and while goes with past continuous.
Mostly, yes. Though you can use when with continuous too. When I was living in London.
For background context, not an interruption.
Right. You just have to feel what the sentence is doing.
Okay, I have to tell you something embarrassing.
Tell me.
Last month, I was on a video call with a client. It ran over my lunch break, so I typed in the chat, "Sorry, I was eating my lunch during the first part."
What happened?
The client went completely quiet, then wrote back, "You were eating during our call?"
Oh no.
The client thought I was sitting there eating through the whole presentation, like I had a full meal going while she was talking.
But what actually happened?
I was finishing a sandwich when the calendar reminder popped up. I quickly closed everything and joined. The overlap was maybe 2 minutes.
So I was eating during the first part made it sound like...
Like I was eating the whole time. A long, ongoing background, when really it was just one small moment.
You needed, I was just finishing lunch when the call started.
Exactly. That tells the real story. The lunch was almost done, the call interrupted it, then it was over.
This is one of the most common traps. Past continuous describes one specific moment in progress, not a whole excuse covering an entire period.
The sandwich was the background. The call starting was the event.
Your client would have completely understood that.
She never fully trusted me again, I think.
Okay, there is something important we should mention here.
What is that?
In some verbs can never go in continuous form. Ever.
Which ones?
Verbs that describe a state, not an action. Things like know, want, believe, understand.
So, I was knowing the answer?
Never. It is always, I knew the answer.
Because knowing is not something you do, it just exists.
Exactly. You cannot watch someone knowing something. There is no action happening.
What about, I was wanting to leave?
I wanted to leave. Always simple.
So, if you cannot observe it, if there is no physical action,
It stays in simple form. Always.
know, want, believe, understand. Never continuous.
Those are the big ones to remember.
Okay, quick question. They was eating dinner. Is that right?
Almost. They were eating dinner. For you, we, they, it is always were.
Was for I, he, she, it. Were for you, we, they.
Exactly. One of those small things that makes a big difference.
You know, I feel like this is all starting to make sense. The continuous is the background. The simple is the event that happens on that background.
You just said it perfectly, actually.
What do you mean?
Past simple tells the story. Past continuous paints the world the story happens in.
Past simple tells the story. Past continuous paints the world the story happens in.
Keep that in your head. We're coming back to it.
But wait, sometimes I feel like both versions could work. Like both could be correct.
Oh, yes, sometimes they can.
Really?
But they say completely different things, and that's where it gets really interesting.
So both can be correct, but they mean different things?
Let me show you. When she arrived, I made coffee.
Okay.
And when she arrived, I was making coffee.
Those sound almost identical.
Almost, but they are completely different stories.
How?
First one, she arrived, then I made the coffee. She walked in and I got up and started making it.
Okay, she arrived first, then the coffee happened.
Sequential, one after the other, both past simple.
And the second one.
She arrived and found me already in the kitchen. Coffee was already brewing. I'd started before she got there.
Oh, the coffee was the background, already in progress.
Exactly. She walked into a situation that was already happening.
So the first one, I made the coffee for her. The second one, the coffee was already for me.
Exactly. Completely different social situation from 3 words.
That is remarkable, actually.
Same words, same event, different tense, different story.
Can we do another one?
Sure. When he arrived, she left.
He arrived, then she left. Sequential.
And when he arrived, she was leaving.
She was already on her way out. He caught her mid-departure.
Maybe she was putting her coat on. Maybe she was halfway out the door.
In the first one, they probably did not even speak. In the second one, they definitely had an awkward moment in the hallway.
Exactly. The tense tells the whole relationship between those 2 moments.
This is the thing nobody tells you when you learn English.
Textbooks give you the rule, but they do not show you how much the meaning shifts.
Okay, I have a question. What about something like, she lived in Dubai versus she was living in Dubai?
Interesting. Good one. What do you think the difference is?
Thinking she lived in Dubai feels like a fact, a chapter of her life.
Biographical. She was based there. It was her home for a significant time.
And she was living in Dubai feels more,
Temporary?
yes, like she was there for a while, but she knew she would leave.
It sets up a background, like she was living in Dubai when she got the job offer.
The Dubai situation was the context. The job offer was the event.
You are getting this really well.
I have a good teacher.
You have a good conversation partner.
Fair enough.
You know, I have to tell you about something that happened to me recently.
What happened?
2 weeks ago, my friend called me. I missed it. So I sent her a message. Sorry, I was cooking dinner.
That sounds fine.
She wrote back, you were cooking dinner at 11 p.m.?
11 p.m.?
She had no idea when I was cooking. I was cooking dinner just floated there with no anchor, no time reference.
So she filled in the gap herself and got it completely wrong.
Past continuous needs something to hold on to, a second clause, a time expression, something.
I was cooking dinner when you called. That works.
Agreed. Now it is anchored. Now she knows exactly when the cooking was happening.
Or even, sorry, I was in the middle of cooking dinner and missed my phone.
Perfect. The context is clear. The continuous is not floating.
And this is such an easy fix once you know what is missing.
Agreed. One small addition and the whole sentence makes sense.
Can I ask you something slightly different?
Of course.
How would you ask your manager for a day off?
I would probably say, I was wondering if I could take Monday off.
Why past tense? You're asking right now.
Because I was wondering sounds softer, less direct, less like a demand.
It creates distance.
I want Monday off. That is very direct. I was wondering if I could take Monday off. That is a question, not a statement.
It sounds more respectful somehow.
And here is the thing. If you have ever said, I was wondering to someone,
Yes.
you are already using past continuous perfectly. You just did not know why.
I say that all the time. I had no idea it was past continuous.
Most people do it naturally. The grammar is already inside the instinct.
So the viewer at home, they're probably already doing this, right?
If you have ever said, I was hoping we could meet, or I was thinking we should reschedule, that is exactly this. You already have it.
What about using it for giving reasons, like explaining why something happened?
Yes, this is huge in everyday life. Sorry I missed your call. I was driving.
Nah, I didn't reply. I was putting the kids to bed.
I couldn't make the meeting. I was stuck in traffic.
The continuous explains the background, what was going on at that moment.
And it sounds natural. It sounds honest. Not like an excuse, just context.
I use this every day and never realized it was a grammar point.
That is the best kind of grammar. The kind you're already speaking.
One more thing. I had a colleague once. Every single meeting, without fail,
What did he do?
he was always interrupting. Always. Every single time someone spoke.
Was always interrupting. Did you notice that?
That carries something extra. It's not just, he interrupted a lot.
There's frustration in it. He always interrupted is a neutral fact. He was always interrupting.
Means it drove you absolutely crazy.
The continuous plus always adds the emotion. The annoyance is built right into the grammar.
Grammar that expresses feelings. I love that.
Okay, so let us bring this all together.
Past simple, the story moves forward, the events, the facts.
Past continuous, the world the story happens in, the background, the context.
Past simple tells the story.
Past continuous paints the world the story happens in.
I feel like I want to test this now.
Good, because I have some questions for you. Okay, Jake, and everyone watching, 4 questions. Some of these are trickier than they look. Try to answer before Jake does.
Right. Let us go.
Question 1. When I arrived at the office, my manager blank my report. Options are was reviewing or reviewed.
Was reviewing. She was already in the middle of it when I walked in.
Are you sure that is the only correct answer?
Wait, is reviewed also right?
Both are correct, but they tell completely different stories.
Was reviewing. She was already reading it when I arrived.
And reviewed?
She reviewed it after I arrived. The review came after.
Same office, 2 different mornings, depending on which one you choose.
The tense tells you the whole sequence.
Question 2. Yesterday at 8 p.m., I blank the answer immediately. Options are was knowing or knew.
New. It's a specific time, so you use simple.
That is actually not the reason.
It's not?
Know is a stative verb. It describes a state, not an action. You cannot watch someone knowing something.
So was knowing is always wrong, nothing to do with the time at all.
Regardless of when it happened, no never goes in continuous form. Ever.
I thought it was a time question. It was a completely different rule.
That is exactly why it catches people. It looks like one problem, and it's actually another one entirely.
If that surprised you, it surprised me too.
And if you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. We put out new episodes every week, and every single one is exactly this kind of conversation.
Question 3. She blank in Dubai when she got the job offer. Options are lived or was living.
Was living. Dubai was the background. The job offer was the event that interrupted it.
Is lived also possible?
Both work, but they say something different about her time there.
What's the difference?
She lived in Dubai, biographical fact. It was her home, a significant chapter of her life.
And was living?
Temporary. She was there for a period. It implies she eventually left.
So the tense tells you something about her whole relationship with that city.
In just 2 words, yes.
Last one.
And this one, I think you might get it wrong.
Now I am nervous.
So, I blank you 3 times yesterday. Options are was calling or called.
Was calling. Calling feels like an ongoing action, like I kept trying to reach you.
Are you sticking with that?
Yes, was calling.
Called. Past simple.
But 3 calls feels continuous. It was happening multiple times.
3 calls, 3 completed actions. Each one happened and finished.
They are not background. They are the main event, the whole point of the sentence.
Right. When the repeated action is the story, past simple, not continuous.
Was calling means the call was in progress when something interrupted it.
Called you 3 times means 3 complete attempts. Done, finished.
I was so confident about that one.
Almost everyone picks was calling every single time.
If you got that wrong, completely normal. The instinct pulls you toward continuous. The logic pulls you back to simple.
Right. I think it is time to put all of this into practice.
Let us do it. So what are we doing?
2 real situations, the kind you actually find yourself in.
Right, because that is where these tenses really matter.
In real conversations, not grammar exercises.
Okay, what is the first one?
Okay, you missed an important morning meeting at work. I'm your manager. You have to explain yourself.
Oh, I hate this situation.
Everyone does. Ready?
Ready.
Jake, you missed the 9 o'clock this morning.
I know. I am really sorry about that.
What happened?
I was already on my way in. I left home early, actually.
So what went wrong?
The train stopped completely, just stopped for 20 minutes between stations.
Did you let anyone know?
I tried to send a message, but I was going through a tunnel. It did not go through.
When did you finally arrive?
I got to the office at 9:40. By then, the meeting had already finished.
Okay, thank you for explaining.
Thank you for listening.
See how that worked?
Yeah, the continuous was doing a lot of work there.
Exactly. I was already on my way in. The journey was the background, already in progress before anything went wrong.
Right. The train stopped. That was the event, past simple, the thing that changed everything.
And I was going through a tunnel, background again. That's why the message failed.
The continuous explained the situation. The simple told what actually happened.
And it sounded completely natural, not like a grammar exercise at all.
It felt like a real conversation I've actually had.
Most of us have. Okay, second one. This one is warmer.
What is the situation?
I am going to tell you how a friend of mine met her partner. You just react naturally.
I love this kind of story. Go ahead.
Okay, so this was about 3 years ago. My friend Sarah was working at this big office building, really busy place.
Right.
One afternoon, she was rushing to catch the lift before it closed.
Was she late for something?
She was trying to get to a meeting on the 4th floor. She was checking her phone while she was walking.
Classic. Not paying attention.
not paying attention at all. And just as she was stepping into the lift,
What happened?
someone stepped out at exactly the same moment. They walked straight into each other.
Oh, no.
She dropped everything, her phone, her coffee, her bag. Everything went on the floor.
And the other person?
He helped her pick everything up. They started talking, and that was it.
That is such a good story.
They got married last year.
From a lift collision to a wedding.
From a lift collision to a wedding.
Okay, the tenses in that story were doing so much work.
She was rushing to catch the lift, the background, already in motion.
She was checking her phone while she was walking. Two things happening at the same time, both continuous.
And then they walked straight into each other.
Past simple, the event, the moment, everything changed.
The continuous painted the whole world, the busy office, the rushing, the phone.
And then one simple sentence landed in the middle of it and changed everything.
That is exactly how these two tenses work together. One builds the world, the other changes it.
Past simple tells the story. Past continuous paints the world the story happens in.
There it is again.
It just keeps coming back.
Because it is true every single time.
Okay, let us bring this all together.
Past simple, completed actions, things that happened and finished.
The events, the facts, the things that move the story forward.
And past continuous, actions that were in progress at a specific past moment.
The background, the world the story happens in.
And when they appear together,
The continuous is the stage. The simple is what happens on it.
past simple tells the story.
Past continuous paints the world the story happens in.
Every time, without exception.
And the things to watch out for?
Stative verbs. Know, want, believe, understand. Never continuous, always simple.
And was for I, he, she, it. Were for you, we, they.
Small thing, big difference.
And if you have ever said, I was wondering if you could help,
You were already using this perfectly. You just did not know why.
which is the best feeling.
Dear friends, now it is your turn. We want you to write one sentence in the comments, something real from your own life. Use both tenses together.
Like this. I was cooking dinner when my phone rang.
Or, I was walking to the bus stop when it started raining.
Your situation, your story. Write it below.
We read every single one.
And if this conversation helped you, subscribe. We do this every week.
Same two hosts, same cozy studio, a brand new topic every time.
See you in the next one.
Take care, everyone.